Hi, I'm Dr. Michael L. Johnson. I'm a board-certified chiropractic neurologist, and I've been in practice since 1983 in Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm the author of this book, What Do You Do When the Medications Don't Work? A non-drug treatment of dizziness, migraine headaches, fibromyalgia, and other chronic conditions. I also consult with over 1,000 chiropractors nationwide, and you can find them at www.lifechangingcare.com. That's lifechangingcare.com, all one word. So I'm here today to talk to you about diabetes, something I know a little bit about since I'm insulin resistant. Now, you may or may not know, let's just go here first, that diabetes is officially diagnosed at anything above a blood sugar level or a blood glucose level of 127 or higher. This is a fasting level so you were fasting it for 12 hours. And according to the American Diabetes Association, it should be two fasting levels of 127 or higher. 100 to 126 is insulin resistance or pre-diabetes. I happen to be at 106. And ideal or optimal is 85 to 99. So what does a chiropractic neurologist have anything to do with blood sugar levels? I'm going to show you here shortly. First thing I want to tell you is I will not tell you to stop taking your medicine. That's called practicing medicine without a license. Many of you are on a drug called metformin. Keep taking the meds. But what I'm about to share with you are some ways you can lower your blood sugar levels. And it's important because your brain and nervous system need two things to survive: fuel and activation. And your brain runs every bodily function. Fuel is oxygen and glucose. And if your glucose levels are skewed, you can have some serious complications if you're not addressing this. Blindness, amputation of a limb. So, diabetes is something to be taken very, very seriously. So let's talk about this. What makes us different from every other doctor you've seen? We treat you metabolically and neurologically. And they're both important when it comes to blood sugar levels. And you're watching this DVD because, you or someone you know is diabetic. I'm here to tell you that we don't leave any stone unturned when it comes to getting to the bottom of the problem. So let's talk about the metabolic treatments. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you is that there are lab ranges, which are very broad, and there are optimal ranges that are a lot narrower. For instance, it used to be that the lab range for blood sugar levels was 70 to 115, and you were considered normal. Now, it's narrowed down a little bit since then, but optimal level for blood glucose level is 85 to 99, as I mentioned. So you could be lab normal, but not optimal normal. And the first thing we want to do is we want to get a complete metabolic panel. That's going to show us the fasting blood glucose, also going to show us some other things. We want to look at a lipid panel. We want to look at a thyroid panel because your thyroid runs your metabolism. And then we want to look at a CBC, complete blood chemistry, with auto diff. So you separate the red and white blood cells. Very, very important. Why do you need this? Because those tests allow us to assess your thyroid, your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are your stress glands right above your kidneys. The adrenal glands have a lot to do with blood sugar levels. If you're not checking the adrenal glands, you're missing part of the game. And we're going to show you how we check that. Your liver, kidneys, red, white blood cells, gut function, all of these internal functions can be affected when it comes to diabetes. That's why you got to check them. So the first thing that we do is sensitivity testing. Are you sensitive to gluten? Gluten is wheat, rye, oats, and barley. If you're sensitive to gluten, and every time you eat gluten, your blood sugar level spikes, guess what? You better not be eating it. The only way to find out if you are sensitive to gluten is to do the testing. So you check and see if you're sensitive to gluten, milk, soy, eggs, or yeast. If you're sensitive to any or all of those, that's affecting your blood sugar levels. You have problems getting your blood sugar levels down, and even with the medications, they keep going up. And now you're on insulin. Guess what? You need the sensitivity testing. Here's some of the symptoms with sensitivities: chronic pain or fatigue, frequent indigestion, bloated after eating, frequent loose bowel movements, constipation, mouth ulcers. Now the adrenal stress index. The adrenal stress index measures your adrenal glands. They're your stress glands. And they sit right up above your kidneys. This is a salivary test, and it's measured over four-hour periods at 8 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., and about 10 p.m. It's a DNA. It's similar to the DNA test. And it's going to assess the function of your adrenal glands. Because if your blood sugar levels are skewed, your adrenals are coming into play. They need to be addressed. You wonder why your blood sugar level's through the roof and you can't get it down no matter what you do, even with diet and exercise? This is the problem. Immune panels. You could be autoimmune. Your immune system could be attacking your kidneys, your adrenals, your nervous system. The only way to check is to see if you have an autoimmune problem. If your immune system is attacking part of your body, you run the immune panels. Here's the deal. There's two parts to your immune system, Th1 and Th2. And you measure each by markers. The markers for Th1 is interleukin-2 and TNF-alpha. These are blood tests. And if interleukin-2 and TNF-alpha are high, guess what? You're Th1 dominant. And that needs to be addressed because that is affecting your blood sugar levels. And if you're Th2 dominant, you're going to see high levels of interleukin-4 and interleukin-10. My guess is your average general practitioner doesn't even know what I'm talking about here. And I'm going to get up on a soapbox, but geez, oh man. You know, here's some drugs. See ya. Have a good life. You want to be thorough and you want to check the patient. So if interleukin-4 and interleukin-10 are high, you're Th2 dominant. Now, Th1, these are T cells. T cells are the part of your immune system that goes and attacks, and it cleans up afterward. They're helper T cells, suppressor T cells, natural killer cells, regulatory T cells, and macrophages. The Th2 part of your immune system are B cells. B cells make antibodies. B cells tell your T cells what to go attack. So that's what's happening with Th1 and Th2 dominant. You don't know unless you test for it. And then once you determine if you do have an autoimmune condition and it is Th1 or Th2 dominant, what's causing the dominance? It's caused by one of two things, an antigen or dysregulation. An antigen is parasites, bacteria, virus, mold, yeast, fungi, protozoan, foods. That's why I mentioned the sensitivity testing, chemicals and heavy metals. The best indicator for an active antigen is, as the cause of the patient's abnormal Th1 or Th2 dominance is the helper-suppressor ratio. It's also called the CD4 and CD8 ratio. If it's 2.5 or above, you have an active antigen. If it's 1.2 or below, you have a problem with dysregulation. What do you mean? Well, it could be anemia, could be your adrenal glands, could be the gut function. So you want to get to the cause of the problem. What I'm saying and what I keep saying is you want to be as thorough as possible. So, another problem could be H. pylori. H. pylori bacteria affects gut function. That could be causing an antigen. Could be caused by leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome describes a condition of altered or damaged bowel lining caused by antibiotics, toxins, poor diets, parasite, or infection. We may look at neurotransmitters. We may look at your hormone panels. Hormones can cause alterations in blood sugar levels. You don't know unless you test. I will say this, if you have an autoimmune condition and a hormone condition, the autoimmune condition trumps everything. Everything. And inflammation. We want to look at your markers for inflammation, C-reactive protein and homocysteine levels. And then how do we address this? We address it nutritionally, and we address it utilizing something called glutathione. Glutathione is a natural antioxidant. It's the mother lode of antioxidants. So that's the metabolic side. Then there's the neurological side. Like I said, your brain and nervous system need two things, fuel and activation. Fuel is oxygen and glucose. So we handled the glucose end with the metabolic side. Now we want to talk about oxygen.